A moment with grace is worth your time.
Like and subscribe.
There's a pattern in the Bible where God calls people and gives people to help, and the Lord gave the word, and great was the company that published it. It was Abraham that God called and not Lot. But one day Lot thought that he was great and that he too can be on his own. So he left Abraham. When we heard of him, he had been captured by some nations, and Abraham had to take his trained servants to go and rescue him. When we heard of him again, he was in Sodom, and it was Abraham who was interceding for the deliverance of righteous people in Sodom, and angels were sent to go and rescue Lot. When we heard of him again, his daughters were sleeping with him to give birth to Moabites and Amorites. So you can see that he was not called to be on his own. He should have stayed with his uncle Laban. So there are people God calls, and there are people God calls to help. I think my 30 minutes is even up. I've got only 9 minutes. If you have a question, you can ask. Otherwise, I'm sharing the grace. Anybody? Yes.
Thank you, Bishop.
This man is continuing the interview here, you see. Yes.
Thank you, Bishop. During the days when the Lord started giving you visibility as a young preacher, why did it not become essential for you to have started something on your own? Because at least you were getting following, people were getting to know you, you were at least going places, and you were doing well. At least you could have still become a mega church pastor or something. So why did you?
Do you understand his question? Why didn't I step out to be on my own? Yes. Because there's a pattern in the Bible where God calls people and gives people to help him. Psalm 68 verse 11 says that, and the Lord gave the word, and great was the company that published it. So God calls people, and if you are humble, you will know that the pattern is plenty in the scriptures. The pattern is plenty. There were people like Abraham, and there were people else like Lot. But it was Abraham that God called and not Lot. But one day Lot thought that he was great and that he too can be on his own. So he left Abraham. When we heard of him, he had been captured by some nations, and Abraham had to take his trained servants to go and rescue him. When we heard of him again, he was in Sodom. He had pitched his tent in Sodom, and it was Abraham who was interceding for the deliverance of righteous people in Sodom, and angels were sent to go and rescue Lot. When we heard of him again, his daughters were sleeping with him to give birth to Moabites and Amorites. Do you understand? So you can see that he was not called to be on his own. He should have stayed with his uncle Laban. So there are people God calls, and there are people God calls to help. Moses was the one who was called by God, and people like Aaron and Hur were to assist him. And Aaron and Hur, when they were fighting the Amalekites, and Moses went on the mountain and lifted the rod, Joshua was down there fighting and winning. But when his hands were weak and coming down, Joshua was being defeated. But Aaron came to his right, Hur on his left, and they both supported his hands. They didn't take the rod to say that, if your hands are tired, give me the rod so that I also can lift. My hands are stronger than yours. When I lift my hands, it will get more victory. But they knew that the one who had been called was Moses, and the one in whose hand the victory was Moses, not in their hands. So theirs was to put a rock for Moses to sit down and be comfortable. Then they support his hand this way and that way till the Amalekites were totally defeated. So scripturally, that is also a pattern that can be followed today. That God calls people. They are founders and they are presidents of ministries. That it's not everybody who can be a founder and president. Because when you step out of your line and go and be on your own, you end up like Lot. The ministry that doesn't really grow. You can't even support yourself, can't build, can't buy land, can't do anything. But they are fathers that God raises and people that he raised to start things. They have the leadership anointing to lead a group to become more than one, to lead a group to build more than one building, to lead a group to go to different towns and villages. There are some people who can never do that. They can't. They don't have the mettle and the spine to be able to be that type of leader who can lead people to places. So that pattern is also but you see, pride would never allow some people to accept that you cannot be your own man. Yes, only humility. Or some people are on their own, they regret being on their own, but they don't know how to reverse and do a U-turn and go back and say, I said I'm my own man. I've taken my inheritance and gone to a far country, but it hasn't worked for me. See, the prodigal son could have come to his father and said, I was into agriculture, animal husbandry, so I was looking after pigs and other things. No, you are not looking after pigs. You were eating, you were even begging for the food of pigs. But pride, but humility made him come back and peacefully say, look, even if it's a servant, it's better than to be on my own. There are people who should be head ushers or even choir directors in somebody's ministry rather than to be the head of their own church as founder and president. But you see, if you're not humble, nobody can talk to you because I have the mic and I'm the one talking. You have to listen to me. But if somebody was to talk to you directly, you'll be angry with him. But me too, I'm not mentioning your name, so you can't be angry with me. I'm preaching. Do you see? So these things exist where there are people who should not be on their own. Shouldn't. I've known there's a pastor, there are two of them even come to mind. One left our church for 17 years. He told the church he had founded that I've made a mistake. And after 17 years, he's telling them that he's going back to the church that he came out from because things are not working for him. And he thinks that the right thing for him to do is to go back. So he told them that, well, if you want, you can follow him, fine. If you can't follow him, to then go to another ministry. And he closed down the church. Another one left our church for 14 years. Today he's back in the church as a bishop. He also said after 14 years, he told the church that he had made a mistake, but he shouldn't have left the church. And as he's led his church for some years, he feels that he has made a mistake and he's going back. Only humility. Without humility, you can never make a U-turn. You go, you die quietly. And then if you go to heaven, praise the Lord. If you go to hell too, then you go and regret there. So there are some people who should never be on their own. Even though when they are serving, like how you are serving here. Your name is what? Eric Prince. You see, you are like Bishop Saki and then Bishop Eddy. Two of us were under Bishop Dag. And served with him. He could travel, he could do things. Until the church grew to the point where other pastors came in and filled places that we were filling. And we are still around. But the church has moved on. It's like you won't even notice our presence in the church. That's the beauty of it. Do you understand? So where you stand is very beautiful, but it's easy. Like he's saying that since he's been away on apostolic mission, how can you fulfill your apostolic ministry if you don't have able assistants who are loyal, dedicated, and love you? Who are also good. Because they have to be good to be able to look after the work you have built with your life. And being good, looking after what you have built, doesn't make them good on their own. That's also the point. It doesn't make you good. Or you can step out today and you'll be surprised at how you used to shine when you were here. How people used to come to you, even the church has grown. It will not be the same when you step out. Because you are probably at the right place at the right time. I can give you a practical example of two people who left their founder and how they have ended up. We are watching it. They are not dead. Both of them are not dead. Those associates who left their founder, their pastor and founder and friend has gone on, advanced, become a worldwide ministry, and they have no ministry as we speak. They have no ministry. And when they stood to his right and to his left, the church was something. The church was something. The ministry was wild. It grew. Their voices could be heard many places. They were very good teachers, wedded people who could preach powerfully. But since they left, one thing after the other has never worked for any of them. For security reasons, I cannot mention their names. Do you understand? So, biblical patterns exist for people like you, Aaron and her. James, Peter, James, and John. They were even three. Do you understand? Paul and Silas. We know of Paul. We don't know of Silas. I mean, we don't know of what he preached or any book he wrote. John Mark is also another who was good for the ministry. But the fact that you are John Mark, you are good for, doesn't mean that you will be Paul. Even Jesus said, the works I do shall ye do, and greater works than this shall ye do, because I go to the Father. When you do greater works than Jesus, it doesn't make you Jesus or greater than Jesus. Never. But sometimes people feel that once I can do greater works, I'm greater than my Father, so let me just be on my own. I hope you get I hope I've answered your question. Yes. So not everybody is called to be on his own. And when you have to be on your own, the living is peaceful. The living is stress-free. My friend Kojo Boatin Bempa, he was with Salifu Amuakon, Prophet Salifu Amuakon. And I used to go to their church to do training for their pastors. And he used to be the resident pastor sitting down and listening to me as I train the people. And he organized them, always make the people ready and I come and I do the training and I leave. One day he felt the Lord leading him to be on his own. It took several months, discussions, talking. Different fathers talked to him how to live so that he doesn't disturb the church and all that. And he left peacefully and quietly. Up to today, Salifu Amakon is his spiritual father. He preaches in the church regularly. This end of November, we are doing a faith convention in the church. And we are preaching together with him. He's there. He's preaching. He'll be there. But you see people, they leave. No, they cannot even call their father whom they left, saying all sorts of things. Yeah, if God has led you and God is using you to build a church, do you think he will let you leave and spoil the one that you helped to build? Galatians 2:18 says that if I build again the thing which I destroy, I make myself a transgressor. And those of you like following pastors who have left, oh no, yeah, he has a gift. It looks like they don't treat him well. That's why. Who your quiet time? But how do you know that they don't treat somebody well? You don't do quiet time. You don't read the Bible for yourself. But you are uncle. And sometimes they will say uncle when you go to, they won't follow you. They will you can go. When you go, both say, oh, Sister Ajua, we have started. So okay. We have heard. They have deceived you to go and be on. Like how this man said that, oh, we know that people listen to you. I mean, you are also whatever. You can be on your own, have a mega church on your own. I don't have such a deception in my head that I can be on my own. I can have a mega church on my own. I even feel that if I go on my own and start my own Jesus, God so loved the world that gave his only begotten Son, international ministries, or the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill, and but I come that he might have life and have a more international ministries. I don't think it will work. Clap for Jesus, please. I think I don't know if you have any other question, but it's enough. Yes, sir. One more question. Yes.
Bishop, living in this city for 32 years.
32 years?
Yes. Doing ministry. I've seen wonderful believers working for God, singers, ushers, junior pastors. But one thing that destroys their gift is offense.
Yes.
And it's a spirit I've seen in this city. And the way it happens, it just cut them short.
Yes.
And before you know, they are destroyed. How will the modern day believer or any child of God sitting here deal with the spirit of offense?
I'm going to talk about it tomorrow.
Wow.
We can deal with offenses tomorrow.
Wow.
Because offenses is the thief of victory. Your victory is stolen by offenses. You remember the Syrophoenician woman who came to Jesus and said, my daughter is grievously vexed with an unclean spirit. And Jesus didn't answer. And the disciples shooed her away. And Jesus later told her that, I don't give the bread of the children to dogs. And the woman still kept coming. And she said, even the dogs, they eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. And Jesus said, oh woman, great is thy faith. Go thy way, the daughter is healed. You see, the woman was at a point of a breakthrough, but that offense, like Jesus didn't mind you. Like you send somebody a text, he doesn't reply. You call. If you call your bishop, he doesn't reply. Call 7 times, he didn't reply. Send a text. My daughter is not well, this and that. He doesn't reply. 2 days, 3 days, 1 week. Then you come and see him in church. You even look at his face. It's like, be there. And I can see 2 texts that you have seen it and you have read. You will not reply. If you reply, be there. You will be angry. But you see, the woman kept coming. So tomorrow we can look. There are 2 things I wanted to talk about, but maybe just as you have brought this question, maybe we'll deal with that one. Because that one is it takes people out of the ministry more than fornication and adultery. People are eliminated from the ministry more by offenses than by even sin. Sin, they recover and revive. But hurts and wounds, you are cut off. Like somebody who has diabetes, whose skin or flesh does not heal wounds. So it ends up cutting off that portion of the leg or the body. It just removes it. Because once a hurt cannot be healed, the eventual outcome is the cutting off from the body. So you see a lot of pastors, we are the most brittle species you can find. Brittle, easily offended, deeply wounded creatures. Pastors and pastors' wives. Sure. And associate pastors. You see, Jesus told Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Peter, that you said, upon this rock I'll build my church. Now you say you are going to die in Jerusalem, and he says that it's a bad idea. You have to save your life and don't go and die. Then you turn to him and say that, get thee behind me. Not even that you are talking like Satan or you are allowing Satan to influence you, but I say, get thee behind me, Satan. If they call you Satan, will you live in the church? Will you survive? So tomorrow, by the grace of God, we can look at the pathology of offenses. Yes. How it develops, how it comes, how it grows. What's the eventual outcome of pathology? Is the study of diseases when they have finished their work in a body. That's why they dissect bodies. And you see, the dissection or postmortem is supposed to help you know what the person died of. So when you see a dead body and they cut, then they're able to explain, this is the eventual outcome of this disease that starts and affects the liver. So this is what it does to the liver. Then we must prevent it before it spoils the liver. When it handles the liver this way, or the heart this way, or the kidney this way, the person will eventually die. So the hurt or the disease or the sickness has an eventual outcome of killing or death. So that's pathology. And offenses, how it comes, how it develops, which way, what types of offenses. We will look at, probably be able to look at that and pray that God can heal your heart of pain that you suffer. Jesus even said it must needs be that offenses must come. It must needs, like it's necessary. God, you say you are a man of love. You say you walk, you have the fruit of the Spirit. Then you have to meet a test. That's offenses. And then you know whether you say you're a man. Most Christian husbands and wives, they cannot practice the fruit of the Spirit. Joy, peace, patience, long suffering, meekness, gentleness. You can't do it in the house. You see, the sister, her gentleness has disappeared. You won't even recognize her when she's shouting and throwing tantrums in the house over chop money. You see this fine girl with nice Brazilian hair. When you see her in the house and she has removed the hair, you see her talking. You will even wonder whether it's her. It's like, I'm looking for Sister So and so. So she's the one standing there. So what? The hair will change, the face, the body, the makeup too has gone. So when you see the face, angry look, you see that Botele Bita widow. It's not easy to control. God bless you all. Thank you.